Stage Street of the Writer's Grotto. Now let's go ahead and get started with our event, and here is your host for this evening, Anshu Johri.
Thank you so much. So we will be talking about places today. I'm sorry, I'm just going directly to the event as we are a little bit short on time. So I'm going to talk about places today, and this is a bilingual program where we have at least one author who has written a poem. It has been translated into Hindi language, and we are going to do either a performance poetry, or we'll have a video poetry for you to enjoy. That goes with the original poem. So I would like to first invite Robert Pesich. He will be reading While Traveling, and that's the poem that's written by him, and the Hindi translation would be read by me. After that, he would be reading A Window in the City. To Robert Pesich. He's President of the Poetry Center, San Jose. Welcome, Robert.
While traveling. While traveling from one silence to another, may we continue to follow the hummingbird of flame, born of the stillness underneath our orphanage, and of the ash and tears in our hair, and the few words remaining today. May its slender tongue pierce the black seam behind our eyes, capsizing our little fishing boat, loaded with the rare and unnamed we devour and without prayer. May its brief song cast from the end of the branch along El Camino Real, cast from nowhere to no one in particular. May these songs pierce our already forgotten moment. Gather us from one depth that we might begin translating ourselves into another depth, which begins when we begin to suture the torn red seam bleeding underneath our voice and intentional indifference. And if we can touch, let us embrace and thus articulate the invisible bonds between us, resurrect our own air, because the 10,000 skies depend upon this, and so too the one blue sky.
I will be reading the translation in Hindi. So there are some people who do understand Hindi, and otherwise you can watch my expression. एक खामोशी से दूसरी खामोशी के सफर के दरमियान काश करते रहे हम हमिंग बर्ड की लौ का अनुकरण, जिसका जन्म हुआ हमारे अनाथालय के नीचे दबी निश्चलता से, हमारे बालों में लिपटे राख और आंसुओं से, और आज के लिए बचे कुछ शब्दों से। काश उसकी पतली जीभ हमारी आंखों के पीछे छिपी काली तुरपन भेद कर हमारी नन्ही नावों को पलट दे, जिन्हें हमने उन दुर्लभ और नामहीन वस्तुओं से भर रखा है जिनका भक्षण हम बिना किसी प्रार्थना के करते हैं। एल कैमिनो रियल की एक डगाल से उसके संक्षिप्त से गीत की गुंजन, जिसकी ना तो कोई निर्धारित दिशा है ना वह किसी व्यक्ति विशेष के लिए है। काश उसके ये गीत भेद दे हमारे उपेक्षित भूले हुए लम्हे, एकत्रित कर ले हमें एक गहराई में, ताकि हम आरंभ कर सके अपना ही अनुवाद किसी दूसरी गहराई के लिए, जिसका आरंभ होता है जब हम सिलने लगते हैं कटी लाल सीवन जिसका रक्त रिस रहा है हमारी आवाज और समझ बूझकर ओढ़ी उदासीनता की परत तले। और अगर हम छू सकें तो भर ले एक दूसरे को अपने अंक में, ताकि हमारे बीच की अदृश्य अस्थियां स्पष्ट हो सके, पुनर्जीवित कर सके हम अपनी हवाएं, क्योंकि 10,000 आकाशों की निर्भरता टिकी है हम पर, और उस एक नीले आकाश की भी। थैंक यू।
This next one from Model Organism, titled A Window in the City. I was in the bathroom, reading the Times on the toilet. Yeah, a small article under a yellow nightlight, because the switch was blown. Old woman finds infant in dumpster, revives him with songs. It was then that I could hear someone knocking on the neglected window in the corner above my face. A small bird, dark as my eyes, returning to her chicks. The nest wedged against the hinge, keeping the window open with its woven mouth of mud, grass, and tangled cassette tape. Holding my voice, a few words, brief song made useful. Tiny ligature of a greater voice that brings me to the window. Black back alley, bricks, dumpster and sour diesel, the birds resting in my breath, while outside someone shatters a glass or a mirror under a brief snow of blossoms floating down from somewhere.
Thank you, Robert. When I was trying to translate that poem, it was very hard for me to find an appropriate word for toilet in Hindi. So I decided, let's just do without the translation. Our next poet will be Colleen, Shoshana, McKee. Colleen would be reading a poem, Humans Suck, and the translation in Hindi will be read by Dr. Pragya Jain. And the second poem that Colleen would be reading is Kissing the Earth. Colleen, please.
Hi y'all, thanks for coming out. So I'm going to read a poem called Humans Suck, and this is from my last book called Routine Blood Work. And then later I'll read another poem, which actually is also kind of about how humans suck, but anyway, here we go. So, humans suck. I see the words forgive yourself stenciled 3 times on my street, 40th, on my way to the train. And that is a photo of it. That is a photo, yeah, my photo. I tap them lightly with my cane each morning, hit them heavy, limping home at dusk. Forgive yourself flashes in the streetlights in the rain, reflected in the junction box on the corner of Martin Luther King. Someone stenciled humans suck a few times on 40th, probably someone else. Humans suck is smudged, glopped in what looks to be blistering tar, bubbled up from some Oakland hellmouth. I like the two together. Forgive yourself because you're human. Humans suck. Forgive yourself is faded. Humans suck more steadfast, despite the angry smear. But I see forgive burnished on the sidewalk, faint as old nickels and pennies. It shows up better in the rain. I see the words I need at my feet. This isn't the first time. 9 years ago, just before I left St. Louis, someone wrote, forgive yourself, small, brushed green on a gutter on South Grand, around the corner from where we lived. First saw it one frigid dawn on the way to the bus. It was a few months after my best friend killed herself. All through the ice, the long thaw, the brief spring, forgive yourself, multiplied, the words, bigger, blacker, sprayed at eye level on stolid brick buildings along South Grand. I still saw my sweetheart's sexy ghost strutting down grand in striped bell-bottoms, smoking and giving me the stink eye, sometimes just sticking out her tongue. One summer dusk looming over the highway, 7 stories up and 10 feet tall, forgive yourself, outlined in gold, bold on a gutted warehouse, a swaying thing of splinters, more wind than wood, teetering over the Mississippi River. Who risked their lives to write this? Every time I see these words, small or monumental, I do forgive myself, if only for that moment, and bless the ones who needed to write it and did. I can walk these cracked and crumbling cities, knowing someone is blessing us all, every wretched one of us, no matter what we've done or failed to do. Thank you, and now she's going to read it in Hindi. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know who translated it, but Pragya's reading it.
Alright, so this is the translation of Colleen, Shoshana, McKee, and it is translated by Anshu, Johri, and she's very soulfully translated it, so I'll read it in Hindi. मैं देख रही हूँ स्टेंसिल में सजे धजे 3 बार लिखे शब्दों को उस सड़क पर जिससे होकर मैं ट्रेन पकड़ती हूँ. Forgive yourself. हर सुबह अपनी छड़ी से हौले से मैं थपथपाती हूँ उन्हें और सांझ ढले धोंकती हूँ अपनी लंगड़ी चाल के भारीपन से. खुद को क्षमा कर दो. Forgive yourself. चमचमाते हैं ये शब्द बारिश में मार्टिन लूथर किंग सड़क के कोने पर लगे जंक्शन बॉक्स से परावर्तित होती स्ट्रीट लाइट की रोशनी में. 40th स्ट्रीट, जिस पर पढ़ा है कई बार स्टेंसिल से लिखा Humans suck. यानी नस्ल आदमी चूसती है, पर ये शब्द फैली स्याही से मिलजुल गए हैं, पड़े हैं एक दूसरे से जुड़े, चिपके फंसे हुए. ओकलैंड के जहन्नुमी मुंह से निकले खोलते कोलतार के बुलबुलों से. मुझे ये दोनों वाक्य साथ साथ अच्छे लगते हैं. खुद को क्षमा कर दो क्योंकि तुम इंसान हो और इंसानी नस्ल चूसती है. धुंधला है. खुद को क्षमा कर दो और गुस्से में फैले चिपके शब्दों के बावजूद स्थायी अचल सा नस्ले आदमी चूसती है. पर क्षमा चमकता है फुटपाथ पर, पुराने सिक्कों की धुंधली पड़ी चमक की तरह. बारिश में उभर जाता है उसका अक्स, जिसकी आवश्यकता है मुझे वो शब्द पैरों में पड़े दिखाई देते हैं. और ये पहली बार नहीं हुआ. 9 बरस पहले सेंट लुइस छोड़ने के पहले हमारे घर के नुक्कड़ पर किसी ने छोटे हल्के हरे रंग से लिख दिया था Forgive yourself. साउथ ग्रैंड के कटर पर एक कड़कती ठंड की सुबह बस को पकड़ते जाते हुए उस घड़ी उस पर पड़ी थी मेरी नजर. यह बात रही होगी मेरे अंतरंग मित्र फ्रेंड के खुद अपनी जान ले लेने के कुछ महीनों बाद की. सर्दियों की जमती बर्फ उसके उष्ण होकर पिघलने के दरमियान एक छोटे मधुमासी अंतराल में Forgive yourself कई गुना बड़ा, शब्दों का आकार हुआ बड़ा और बड़ा, अक्षरों का काला रंग अधिक गहरा और गाढ़ा. साउथ ग्रैंड से लगी अलसाई ईंटों की इमारतों पर मेरे दृष्टि स्तर पर स्प्रे किया हुआ लिखा Forgive yourself. गर्मी की एक शाम हाईवे के ऊपर लूमता 7 मंजिलों के ऊपर 10 फीट लंबा Forgive yourself चमचमाते सोने की रेखाओं से बना वेयर हाउस पर बेबाक लकड़ी की फांसों का झूला, जिसमें लकड़ी कम और हवा का वेग अधिक था, झूल रहा था मिसिसिपी नदी के ऊपर. किसने लगाया था अपने जीवन को दांव पर उस जगह यह लिखने के लिए Forgive yourself. जब भी मैं देखती हूँ ऐसे शब्द, जो चाहे छोटे हो या बड़े, मैं क्षण भर के लिए ही सही कर लेती हूँ स्वयं को क्षमा. और देती हूँ दुआएं उन्हें जिन्हें यह लिखना जरूरी लगा और उन्होंने उसे लिखा। मैं चल पाती हूँ इन दरकते और उजड़ते शहरों में यह सच जानते हुए कि कोई है कहीं जो हम सबको अपनी दुआओं में रखता है, चाहे हम कितने नीच दुखी अधम क्यों न हो, चाहे हमने जो भी किया हो या वो जो करना चाहिए था वह न भी किया हो। थैंक यू।
Wow, I'm just so touched. Thank you so much, Pragya and Anshu for doing this. Just the melody and the rhythm of it sounded so beautiful, and it's so touching to hear words like Mississippi River and to hear St. Louis that means so much to me, interwoven into this other language. So beautiful. I'm so touched. I'll read another poem which is called Kissing the Earth. Like that one, it's also a true story. This one actually just, you can hop on the 22 bus and be right there at 16th in Wisconsin where this happened. And there's a quote in here. I say that I was waiting for the bus with my friend Ian, and so when I quote my friend in here, that's the guy, that redhead there. So. Kissing the Earth. Yesterday I waited for a bus at 16th in Wisconsin, my brace and cane carefully propped on the bus shelter, and watched as a man, maybe 50, kneeled in the gutter and with great speed and gusto gathered dirt and bits of dead leaves, broken glass, whatever lingers in the gutters at the foot of Potrero Hill, and he rubbed handfuls of rubbish all over his head. He did this again and again with the zeal of someone being baptized. My friend and I waited for 10 minutes for the 22, and this man, tall, muscular, handsome, dressed in clean denim, rubbed his face with grit without ceasing, like a fly washing his face. When the bus finally came and lowered the ramp so that I could laboriously hobble aboard, I said to my friend, "There is such an astonishing variety of things that can go wrong with human beings." "Yes," he said, "we are fragile bags of meat and water." As much as I envied the manic man's ability to crouch, and not just crouch, but remain squatting for who knows how long, bobbing and swaying and bowing, something I could never do with my joint disease. But I wouldn't trade this foot for the compulsion to rub dust in my face in San Francisco on a perfect sunny morning. But the look of refreshment, of faith and conviction as he scooped up earth and rubbed as though he were receiving the Holy Spirit at the banks of the River Jordan. What does he know that we don't? I leave you with that question. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
And thank you, Adobe and Poetry Center, San Jose.
Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Pragya. And now I would like to invite Lalit Kumar. He will be reading two poems, A Place of My Own and Alone in San Francisco. And he will be reading the Hindi translation of Alone in San Francisco after the original poem. Lalit Kumar, please. You want me to put it?
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. So I'm going to read a poem called A Place of My Own from my new book called Yosemite of My Heart, Poems of Adventure in California. So here it goes. I have rummaged through my belongings, searching for the anchor to my course and soul. Looking down at my baggage, seeking in the places I have been to, in the recesses of my heart and in the nooks of my memories, I have looked all around but in vain. I have looked over the mountains, I have looked in the depths of the oceans, ridden through the valleys and the pines, in search of the place that I may call my own. I took a paraglide in the Pacific, I hiked alone in the wilderness, skied down the snowy slopes, quietly looking for a place of my own. I'm not an explorer, still my heart aches for faraway places, reticent, nestled rightly in the wilderness. Thank you. I'm going to read another poem called Alone in San Francisco. So it's all about San Francisco, so probably it should ring a bell. Sauntering down the Embarcadero along the edges of Pier 39, a foggy morning clings to the city, rumbling itself awake from slumber. I trudge along the wooden pier, waves lap at the jetty, winds howl, a pelican nonchalantly flaps his wings and flies past my view ahead. It's not so lonely after all. Nature resplendent in its spread today. Winds, waves, ocean seem to have no bearing to the seasons of my mind. Nature is constant. My mind shifts with each seed of thought. I am not so lonely after all. I open my arms to welcome the oncoming wind. Feel it directly on my face. I let it caress my skin. I feel it ruffle my hair. And I close my eyes to witness the love of my friend. I jump into the incoming waves. The Pacific blues, cold as the thaw in my heart. An instant commingling of two long-lost lovers for whom the distance has not dimmed the lights of their hearts. Distant memory has a way of its own to ebb and flow with the tide. A dream can rise and flutter with the waves, or sink to the bottom with the changing tides and time. The ocean water, I feared it might drown me. Instead, it taught me how to swim along with the tide. Thank you.